My talk is about shifting paradigms in Indian archaeology, but let me give you a short introduction to my background and on what basis I study these questions. So Bhaktivedanta College in Hungary was established in 1998, and I am a senior lecturer there. It is a state accredited and state funded college, and we have programs in yoga and Vaishnava theology, both on the BA and MA level. I myself am the head of department of the Vaishnava theology, and we have 250 students currently. And recently we entered to the Erasmus program. So this allows us to exchange students and also for the teachers of the college to give visitation or invite to the college from foreign universities. So for the students abroad, we offer courses in English from 2025. My own academic background is from the Eötvös Loránd University, Budapest, where I completed my MA degrees on Indology and archaeology as well. During my PhD studies, I combined the Indology and the archaeology, and I worked on the questions of the history of Indian archaeology, and this PhD was a co-tutel program. So it was in an agreement between the Eötvös Loránd University and Deccan College Postgraduate and Research Institute, Pune, and therefore I was part of both university programs. And my affiliation with the Deccan College allowed me to participate at the excavations of Harappan sites. These excavations were led by Professor Vasant Shinde from Deccan College, and with the team of Professor Shinde, I worked for several seasons at the sites of Gilund, Parmana, and Rakhigari. In Budapest this year, I worked in a close collaboration with the Ferenc Hopp Museum of Asiatic Art. This is the main museum in Hungary, which focuses on South Asian art and archaeology, among other Asian fields, of course. I have planned and curated a poster exhibition, which is called the Indus 100 exhibition, and it is installed in the garden of the museum, and it commemorates the centenary of the international discovery of the Indus civilization. So this exhibition gives a very good chance to reach the wider public, and we organize a number of events like the Night of the Museums or the Days of the Cultural Heritage, which these events are broadcasted all over the country, and they offer free programs for basically everybody in each museums. So during these programs, I can speak about the archaeology of South Asia, which is quite an unknown field in Hungary. Today on this seminar, I would like to start with one point, which is one of the main topics of this exhibition, and that is a paradigm shift that occurred exactly 100 years ago. It was only 100 years ago when, in 1924, archaeologists were able to date the Indus, or in other name, the Harappan civilization, to the 3rd millennium BC. Now we understand that the Indus civilization is the oldest known urban civilization in South Asia, and it is contemporary with the ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. But before 1924, the true age of ancient India was unknown, and researchers recognize India's past going back only to the time of Alexander the Great, and that is the 4th century BC. Alexander's campaign, as this map shows, reached the Indus River, and he was successful in his battles, so he crossed the river, and still he couldn't go further because his army decided they want to go back, they want to go home. So the whole army turned south and went to south along the Indus River and then turned back. So because along the Indus River, you can find ancient ruined cities, everybody thought that these ruins belonged to cities which were destroyed by Alexander the Great during his campaign, so that they are not much older than the 4th century BC. In the exhibition, I tell the story of how this paradigm was changed, and I think this is interesting because it's a very good example to show how new discoveries can change mainstream views, and it actually happened within a few weeks. Also, I think it is interesting to know that the Western world, the concept of ancient India is quite young in the Western world. And Sir John Marshall, who was the Director General of the Archaeological Survey of India at that time, described this shift as follows. Hitherto, India has almost universally been regarded as one of the younger countries of the world. Apart from Paleolithic and Neolithic implements and such rude primitive remains, no monuments of note were known to exist of an earlier date than the 3rd century BC. Now, at a single bound, we have taken back our knowledge of Indian civilization some 3,000 years earlier. There were two key sites in this recognition, Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. As I mentioned earlier, these two sites were known as ancient ruined cities, but their true age was unknown. In Harappa, the documentation started in the 1850s, and in Mohenjo-daro in the early years of the 20th century. By 1924, several objects were collected and excavated from these two sites, but these objects did not show a close connection with anything from the territory of India until then, nor with any of any other ancient civilization. These are some of the earliest objects found in Harappa, and they are presently kept in the British Museum. When researchers examined these square seals, they could not connect the pictographic signs to any of the Indian writing systems. And therefore, they thought that the seals are foreign objects. Even the engraved animal figure could not be connected with the well-known humped bull from India. So the age and cultural affiliation of the two discovered cities, Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, remained unanswered until 1924. Sir John Marshall decided to seek the assistance of a wider scholarly circle. On September 20th, 1924, he published the photographs of the most characteristic finds of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro in the columns of a weekly journal, a weekly magazine, the Illustrated London News. The publisher articulated Marshall's question, as you can read on the slide. At Sir Marshall's suggestion, we give all the photographs of seals so that there may be a greater chance of any of our expert readers help to elucidate the script. So the title of this magazine piece was First Light on a Long Forgotten Civilization. And Sir John Marshall says, now, however, there has unexpectedly been unearthed in the south of the Punjab and in Sindh an entirely new class of objects which have nothing in common with those previously known to us and which are unaccompanied by any data that might have helped to establish their age and origin. Doubts about the age of the Indus finds were dispelled within weeks. On September 27, an archaeologist, Archibald Henry Sayce, published his response, and in this, he described the discovery even more remarkable and startling than Marshall originally supposed. He said that the discovery opens up a new historical vista and is likely to revolutionize our ideas of the age and origin of Indian civilization. So in summary, the excavations in Mesopotamia revealed several parallels of the Harappan seal, but from datable layers. So the sites along the Indus, originally thought to be from the time of Alexander, were dated back to the 3rd millennium BC. This paradigm shift occurred during the time of India's British occupation. And after independence, several new sites were explored in Gujarat, Rajasthan, and Haryana, expanding the territory of the Indus civilization. Now we can say that it was the largest among the ancient civilizations of the world. The 100 years of research gave us detailed knowledge about the planning of the Indus cities. We have detailed chronology, which was based on ceramic finds. The roots of the Indus civilization were traced back to several millennia, thanks to the excavations of Mehrgarh. Research in ancient technology revealed how sophisticated craftsmen worked in the Indus cities, and recent discoveries revealed that trade routes and relations across the Arabian Sea and the Persian Gulf. However, although we have all these results, there are still many questions unanswered connected with the Indus civilization, starting with its writing system. After many trials, we still don't have consent on how to read the Indus signs, and maybe discoveries can bring new insights to this area. Then we still wonder about the exact causes of the decline of the civilization, and environmental studies with technologies like satellite imagery can bring new discoveries to this area. Now I would like to talk about another field that might bring some shift in paradigms in the archaeology of South Asia, and that is the research at Rakhigarhi. Deccan College was the lead institution in the research of ancient DNA from Harappan sites. This is a relatively new field in archaeology, and ancient DNA has never been obtained from Harappan skeletons before. The reason to this is that old excavations were not careful enough not to contaminate these samples, as they were not even aware of this possibility. And even on new sites, it is actually very difficult to obtain DNA samples from skeletons from this part of the world because of the climate. So here there is extreme cold, extreme hot. Also, there is rainy season and the summer, which is after that there is a dry season. So this doesn't help the skeletal remains to endure. The team led by Vasant Shinde were able to change this, and they obtained DNA samples from the Harappan cemetery of Rakhigarhi. These were analyzed and published, and according to Professor Shinde, the skeletal remains of these particular persons show less connection with the Iranian plateau and more with the people of later South Asia. Something similar can be said about the face recognition studies. They were done by computer, and again, this was the first in Harappan archaeology. So Professor Shinde argues that both the DNA analysis and the face reconstruction suggest a continuity between the inhabitants of ancient Rakhigarhi and the inhabitants of later South Asia. So this research is often referred as a strong argument in the paradigm shift of the Aryan migration theory. So in conclusion, I would like to say that new research can always bring some shift in paradigms. And my experience is that the archaeology of South Asia is a very active field. So I am sure that we won't have to wait for another 100 years to see some new results that might shift or present paradigms on ancient India. Thank you very much. And thank you, Kunal, for
Dr. Rita, for that fascinating talk. I'd just like to mention to all our viewers here that at BIHS, some of us are actively looking for those who might be very well trained academically in archaeology, history, and heritage. So if you or any of your acquaintances are trained in any of these disciplines, then please connect with the BIHS through info@bihstudies.org.